Okay, good evening and welcome to the October Board of Selectmen meeting for 2021. Judy Williams will not be with us tonight. She is out of town, and John Carangelo should be here shortly. He is out at a family gathering. So with that said, in the event of an emergency, my right, the audience left. Your emergency exit would be up the stairs, which I presume most of you came down. If for some reason that you can't pass in that direction, you can go straight down the back hallway, which will put you out. There's a stairway also out there that brings you up to the side parking lot where the firehouse is, or the stairway behind the wall with the clock on it. You go through the double doors and out the front door will put you out in front of the town hall. Thank you. With that, rise for pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, John, right on time. I'll start on my left on here, Selectman Goldblatt.
Good evening, Mitch Goldblatt.
Good evening, Ralph Oakenquist.
Good evening, Margaret Novicki.
Good evening, John Carangelo.
Okay. Public participation. Public participation is for any item that is not an agenda item. We allow 2 minutes per speaker for any public participation item. There's a lot of you in the audience tonight. If you are a public participation speaker, please remember to sign your name and address on the paper up on the podium so that Ann can record it into the minutes for our next month. Is there anybody for something that is not an agenda item?
I will be quick. Tom Paisano, Orange Soccer Association, 523 Fairway Road, Orange, Connecticut. I'm just here tonight to give us some good news. And first of all, thank you for letting me have 2 minutes. I'm going to be a minute. What I want to bring to people in the town of Orange, I have 300 soccer players and 1,000 parents or more, grandparents that play soccer every Sunday. And the good news is we'll continue to do that. We've had a lot of calls and a lot of conversations after the last Selectmen meeting, last Park and Rec meeting, that there's been some comments and there was an announcement there was an imminent eviction of softball and soccer to be taken away from Mariel Tracy due to some parking requirements. The good news is I now have a plan. We'll be working with Park and Rec. We will be relocating there. It's going to be a long-term plan. It may not be something done quickly, but at any rate, I just want everybody to know, come to the next Park and Rec meeting, which is the fourth Wednesday of the month. It would be 10/27, and it would be a town hall at 7:30. And you can see this new plan and see what's in store for your kids. Also, for the first time, the Playground Committee for Fred Wolfe Park will be presenting their plan to the commissioners, to the Park and Rec commissioners. So be interesting for all. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I would just encourage anybody with young kids or grandparents to show up. Thank you for your time.
Carla Birmingham, 309 Pine Tree Drive. Jim, I wanted to thank you for the last meeting. I wasn't able to attend to bring up about my flooding issues. Mm-hmm. And I just
You are a part of that agenda item tonight. Okay.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you for bringing it up for me. My family's been in this town for 61 years, and over the last 10, 15 years, we've never seen flooding like we've had. My family moved here when I was 5, and it's just steadily gotten worse. So I appreciate what the town's trying to do for us.
Very good. Thank you. Is there anybody else for public participation? None. Anybody at the table? Yeah, go ahead. Run it together.
All right. I want to thank everyone for their participation. This past Saturday, the Orange Recycling Committee held another shredding day. It was very successful. We pulled in 10,980 pounds of paper that was shredded. In addition, there were 43 mattresses that were saved from the landfill. also costing us money when they go in the landfill that were all recycled as well. So it was another successful event. Many thanks to the Orange Rotary Club. Much was gained for their scholarship through some very generous donations from people bringing in items for shredding, and as well as the Orange Lions Club for picking up mattresses for those that wanted their mattresses picked up. And also want to thank the Orange Highway Department for dropping off cones and sawhorses for us to help direct traffic. So thanks everybody for help with that. And we are in the process of planning the next shredding day for sometime in April of 2022.
You don't have it planned yet?
We've got a couple dates. We've got to get a couple.
surprise.
There's a couple dates. I'd rather not throw them out there because somebody put it down.
Soon as weather breaks.
It'll be in April.
Public participation. Anybody else at the table? No? All right, we have just a few items tonight. Unfortunately, this month since we met last, there were 4 losses in the town, all of which were good townspeople that were on many things. The first one being our friend Bob Shanley, who passed away suddenly. Very unfortunate. Was a terrific guy. And when as he would have, though, came home from the Knights of St. Patrick dinner after he had been out for a nice night with many friends and all. So the loss is the loss, and we're unhappy about that, but it's the way you want to go, to have a nice night with friends like that and no pain or suffering. Marilyn Cohen, who was a teacher for many years here in the school system, lived here. I went to school with her son, Stephen. Great lady, passed away from Pine Tree Drive. Helen Melchior. Helen worked for the town of Orange for many years. Was our payroll and accounts payable, I believe. She was a great lady. But the best part of Helen Melchior, at her retirement party, old Mitch couldn't escape. She sat right on his lap and kissed him right on the face. It was a night to remember. Mitch, your friend Helen, and Judy DeFeo, Bob DeFeo's wife, been involved with many things here for many years. Unfortunately, Judy passed away also. Flu clinics. The OVNA is having flu clinics from 10 to 1 in the former probate offices at High Plains Community Center every Wednesday in October. Make sure your insurance is accepted, and for more information on that to check, you can call the OVNA office at 203-891-4752. Now, that is for regular flu clinics that they do on a yearly basis. The debates, there's still 2 debates left for first selectman candidates. The next one is tomorrow night, the 14th at 7 p.m. at High Plains Community Center, and that one is sponsored by the Milford Orange Times. And at 7 p.m. on Sunday, October 24th at Congregation Or Shalom, sponsored by the Or Shalom Men's Group. So that is the 14th and the 24th, both at 7 p.m., one at High Plains, one at Or Shalom. All are welcome. Election Day is Tuesday, November 2nd. All voting is at High Plains Community Center, and absentee ballots are currently available upstairs in the clerk's office from 8:30 to 4 on a daily basis. Daylight savings ends November 7th. Remember to set your clocks back 1 hour before you go to bed on Saturday night. Boy, it gets so dark so early already that we won't even notice. And then there's a Funtober flyer. The selectmen got it. I believe it's Saturday, October 23rd. Rain date is the 24th. And this is DJ entertainment provided by Lucas. There's a trunk or treat event for people to decorate the back of their cars, and everybody backs in lines, and you give out candy to the children in a safe and fun environment. There's a costume parade. There's best decorated car prizes, hot dogs, hot and cold drinks. There's a photo booth, games, craft, and more. You can call the Park and Recreation office to register at 203-891-4790, and that one's from 1 to 3 p.m. on the 23rd up at High Plains at the fairgrounds. Let's see. Got the flu clinic one. All right. I have a letter. Jim, I would like to thank you and the committee for hosting a wonderful retirement party at Racebrook Country Club on Friday. Karen and I thoroughly enjoyed the night and are honored that any excess funds will be donated to the Orange Community Services to help needy families in town. I was overwhelmed by the citation presented by the state representatives Kathy Kennedy and Mary Wieslander from the General Assembly. With all the division in this world, it was so nice to have some good old-fashioned fun and laughter with staff, friends, and neighbors. Sincerely, Karen and Pat O'Sullivan. Okay. Minutes. To consider and act on minutes of our September 8th public hearing regarding the adoption of resolution ordinance prohibiting smoking tobacco products, smoking and consumption of cannabis products on all property owned by the town, and also within the regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Were there any errors, omissions, or corrections? If so, page and paragraph, please. If not,
I'll make a motion to approve. Second.
all right. Everybody in agreement on that? All in favor? Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. New business, to consider and act on request to approve flood culvert studies proposal for Cardinal Engineering. Just checking here. After we met, yeah, that was last month. Several of you got up and spoke, and we knew there was a problem, and we all know there's a problem. That has been getting worse with the 100-year storms that seem to be coming every 6 months lately. So Mr. Britton engaged Cardinal Engineering for a proposal. It's professional services, so it doesn't have to be a bid process. We have used Cardinal Engineering successfully before for other projects. And I'll read the cover sheet of it since there are so many of you here. And this is available if anybody wants a copy of it. If you call Ann, she can email it to you from our office if you want it in hand. Attached is a proposed scope of work and fee from Cardinal Engineering Associates to perform surveying, hydrology, and hydraulics modeling and preliminary design of alternative solutions to flooding issues related to culverts in 3 neighborhoods. The study locations include culverts at Old Country Road, Coachman Lane, Derby Milford Road, Glenbrook Road, Brookside Drive, Pine Tree Drive, Peck Lane. The studies will allow the town to compare costs, property and environmental impacts, and other pros and cons of alternative flooding solutions. The consultant's proposed fee for performing the above services is $83,000, with attendance at community meetings to be billed at hourly rates. An allowance of $4,000 for meetings is recommended. Mr. Britton, I recommend that the town hire Cardinal Engineering Associates to perform the flood studies in accordance with its proposals for an amount not to exceed $87,000. Now, when we say not to exceed $87,000, that's for this proposed scope of work. There will probably be more work that comes with it. There are 3 possible funding sources for this. Selectman Goldblatt asked me prior to the meeting, and those 3 sources are either LoCIP funds, which is local capital improvement projects, the federal money, or the state also has, or the town rather, also has a $2 million capital improvements line item in our budget. So there is funding for the project from one of 3 locations. The Board of Finance would decide where to take that money from for that, or make their recommendation where to take that money from for that. So we do, the selectmen, all we have to act on is the approving the engineering contract or not. So with that said, any questions on this? Would anybody like to speak on it first? Or you're just waiting to hear us vote? I think so. All right. Is there
Motion
any,
to approve.
okay. Any other discussion? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Done. Mr. Britton will be contacting, he's already in contact with, where is he now that I think about it? He's already been in contact with them multiple times, and it's rather interesting. When I sat at my computer tonight, when I came in for this meeting, Senator Murphy's office sent out now all of a sudden another program the government is throwing, I was going to say millions, but everything seems to go in billions now, into another flooding program in conjunction with the Army Corps of Engineers. One that I tried to get them to take on several years ago now, twice actually, is the Weppawag from Pruden Lane down to the new bridge on Derby Milford Road at Grassy Hill, because that's all private, believe it or not, it's all privately owned property. When they subdivided that, it all goes with the homeowners there, and that one is all clogged up also. There's a lot of tree growth and all in that one, and we don't have the right to just go in and take action on it. And so I'm going to try to fill out an application for them. The Army Corps of Engineers, last time I did it, told me, well, you get the plans done and all, and we'll take a look at them. Well, you got to give me the money in order to get it done to, that's a major one. That one is really quite a problem. The water there, and all of you had problems, and I understand that. But that new bridge was built higher and wider and took out the center obstruction in the middle of it, and that one had 2 feet of water over the top of that one, too. And that one's brand new. So, I mean, it's, Milford was getting the brunt of it below us. But yeah, so we had it in multiple locations, but we've seen this before, and unfortunately, I think of the June 5th flooding. What was that, back in '82, I think, when the bridge at Grassy Hill Road just south of the Parkway washed out. So it happens. So this has been approved, and Mr. Britton will be working with Cardinal Engineering. Now you want to ask?
I have a quick question.
You have to
Is there
go.
a time frame by which the study is supposed to be completed?
I can't answer that. You want to talk to the man in front of you. He's dealing with them on that part of it, so he can probably quietly inform you of that better than I could from here. I mean, once we engage them, you'll see them in these neighborhoods, looking at the projects, but I can't tell you. I'm not an engineer. That part I can't answer. All right? Okay.
Excuse me, I have a question. So,
Yeah,
is there
if it's a long question, you're going to have to come up here.
no, it's not.
Okay.
It's just, is there any reason to still need to have conversations with neighbors that perhaps have these culverts on their properties? Or has that already been completed?
It's been discussed.
It has. So they're aware and they're on board with this.
They're aware. Yes. Yep. That was very delicately done. Nice. Yes, no, we've spoken with it all. There's some on there's going to be private property impacts wherever. If you live on Coachman Lane, you're going to have a private property impact because they're going to have to be on your property ripping out and, doing work. If you're on Brookside Drive, you're going to have private property, and Glenbrook, you're going to have private property impact because they have to bring machinery onto what is private property. They can't reach from the street and do it. So
But there's still potential for neighbors in that area, whether it's Glenbrook or Brookside, to say, we don't want this, we don't want our property disturbed. And at that point, what are our avenues at that point?
I would think we would probably have some sort of a right without, I'm not an attorney, but I would say we have some sort of a operational right to enter that property. I can't tell you the right verbiage for it, but I will say that there would be ways to do it, I'm sure. Okay. Item number 2 is to consider an act on purchase of pickup truck with plow for the Highway Department. Mr. Britton is working off the state bid list here. Pretty standard one we do. This is to replace that 2005 short bed pickup we have. We're buying another full-size F-250 pickup with plow, similar to the one that we bought, that they have already, and Park and Rec has one, and the Board of Education has one. We've bought 3 of those already, I believe. So it's off the state bid. It's pretty standard.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Unanimous. Item number 3, Mr. Britton went out to bid for the contractors for snow plowing services, and you have 6 bids here, as in the past. They're relatively close. One, Bob, I think one was adjusted, correct? That bottom one?
Yeah, the highest one, the town contacted in question, and the bidder agreed to drop his price to $310 an hour.
Okay. That's what I thought.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so your prices range from $285 to $310 for those. I believe there's a minimum payment of $4,000, however, they always earn at least that. So with that said, any questions, or is there a motion on this one?
Question? Jim?
Yes, Ralph.
Bob indicated here that,
Microphone. There you go.
okay. Bob indicated he needed probably 6 to 10 trucks. He's got 6 here. Does he have commitments from others to,
6 is
If
what
we
you're
need it-
getting.
oh, we're going
Yeah.
with 6?
Normally, that's what we have, 6.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So
All right. Motion made. Is there a second to this one?
Second.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? Abstain? Unanimous. Okay. Okay. The next one is to consider and act on request for approval to approve the proposal for fencing at Fred Wolfe Park. This is, doesn't say it in it, but this is LoCIP money for this project. And this is kind of an à la carte project, I guess is the best way to do this. Orange Fence and Reliable Fence submitted bids. The third vendor did not. Now with this, there are, and included your map on the front of it there. Is everybody familiar with Wolfe Park in that parking lot when you pull in straight ahead like where soccer currently is, and kind of to the left side, there's part of a rail fence? You're familiar with that? Okay. So from that rail fence, those 2 posts are going to be pulled and repaired there for the gate posts that are there, that they left those double swing gates there. That's going to be repaired. And then there is one section of rail fence on the right side of that double gates. From there to, actually from there to on this map, this was that map that we had before, where Mr. Pisano had requested a fence in the past there a couple months ago. That's about 175 feet. So there's no fence there currently. There's some telephone poles there at best, and they do use that field there also. So I added that in. So that's the one part of it. And then it goes to the new part that adjoins the soccer field side and continues up and around, what did we call that, Lacrosse Road. And then at the far end of Lacrosse Road, they are going to be putting in a 10-foot access machinery gate over there, which would be over here, if you don't remember, let's see. It would be way up here by, because then if you continue on down here, this is Lacrosse over and back over here. So they would put a 10-foot gate over here. So you would, then that would all be fenced uniformly. Both fence companies that bid did not recommend vinyl coated fence. They said because what it is you get a lighter gauge wire with the vinyl coated fence, and then the vinyl coating goes on it, so you're not getting the same as if you got just a straight galvanized. So they both recommended just straight galvanized fence. Then across the street from that, we're not doing anything at this time where the playground, parking, pickleball area is. That's not ready for any sort of activity yet. Across the street from that, which would be over here where that new field is, would be a 10-foot gate up in the opposite the other one, up kind of near La Crosse, down to the corner, and then up to the woods there would be new fence for that location also. So the total price on that, you have two. They priced it with they both both recommended 4-foot fence, but they priced it with 4-foot and 5-foot fence. And then you can go, if you go to your second page there, you'll see orange fences is first. Reliables gets a little bit more involved because he asked, they offered some different things like a pipe frame bottom as opposed to just a tension wire bottom. Generally, they use the tension wire at the bottom to keep it from curling as opposed to the other. So if you get to the next one, here you'll see if they offered number one on reliables was they would continue with the wood timber fence, whereas orange fence offered just the chain link, which really would be the better way to go since the kids are playing ball there anyhow, and there should be a fence there to keep them from running in the parking lot. Currently, there's just some rotted telephone poles along all of that. Then number two would be to install 4-foot chain link in that section. Number three is to install the 5-foot. So you have both options there. Then you have furnished materials and all to remove and repair for number 4, those two machinery swing gates on the rail fence section. This is item number 4 on reliables. And then I guess he has it listed as 2,3A. This would be if you wanted a bottom rail on there as opposed to the wire. We generally use, again, the wire was recommended, but they submitted that as options for it. That's to do that part. Then if you go to the next page for reliable here, this is to continue from basically all the new area out and around up to towards the La Crosse area, where it includes the 10-foot wide double gate. Number 1 is with 4-foot. Number 2 is with 5-foot. Number 1, 2A would be if you wanted bottom rail on that. Then if you wanted, this is for the Newfield area, and it's pretty, this one's actually pretty easy. Number 1 is with 4-foot, and number 2 is with 5-foot, and the price difference for that. So, and then the other part is the, this is the other side of that area. Down the driveway side that will be there, and again with 4-foot or 5-foot. So you have to decide what you want, and then how to do it. I mean, Orange Fence put theirs all into one bid of $19,887 with 4-foot. If you wanted 5-foot, it would be $21,175. And then to repair the guardrail is $1,300 on that. So then, you go to the next one, and you would need,
But I got 24,962, is that what you got, Jimmy?
pretty close. So those are your, and what they call a maze, what that is there won't be a gate for the pass-through, but there's a break here, and then, I think they said 3 to 4 feet out from it, there's another section of fence, so they can't just run through, they gotta go in and around either way.
Could I just
So-
comment on one thing?
No,
Jim?
I'll call you for a comment when we're almost there, Tom.
It's actually,
I came up with 30,308
yep,
for 4 foot. I didn't do 5 foot, yeah.
yeah, right.
And that's with wire, not bottom rail. So you're looking at a comparison here of approximately 20, plus or minus from orange fence, plus, well, it'll be 20, but 21, 22,000 from orange fence, 30,000 roughly from reliable with 4 foot.
And it'd be more for the 5 foot.
Oh, yeah, considerably more. Okay, Tom. No, I'm sure. I just didn't want to interrupt them when they're trying to
Yeah, no problem.
understand it.
It is important, and Jim, thank you
Yes,
for
it is.
looking at the fencing on the other side. Last Sunday or Saturday, I was there, and I took a picture. We need fencing there because cars overflow parking parked on that new
The
grass
new
field.
piece.
And I took a picture. I went over there and got them out of there because we have $50,000 worth of field there, including sprinkler systems and everything. So the need for the fence all the way around, Jim, is a great thing.
I explained to them, however, just so you know, that your piece is the ASAP piece.
Yeah.
And they understand that. They said, well, when do you need it? I said, this one, once we approve it,
Yeah.
from the rail fence up and around is
There-
primary.
There is one thing you can consider, and I'm a big believer in working through park and recreation. Obviously, I said that
Yeah.
earlier.
No, we know that.
Jim Renee made a motion that it would be a 5 or 6 foot fence, so you got a price for a 5. Steve Vespucci seconded at their meeting, and they voted for it. So they are thinking that it would be consistent, and there's nothing wrong with being consistent. That's for sure. We don't. One comment that was made: we don't want to make Fred Wilk Park look like a prison. I was thinking of a 10-foot high fence, and I realized
We know.
that would make it look like a prison out there. So being consistent is very important. Now, whether or not you need 5 foot versus 4 foot, I just would consider using 5 foot. It might make more sense, but
All right, well,
all right.
let's just do the math here. John, you
we're
want to
trying not to make
run the
this
math?
more maintenance for Park and Rec.
No,
That's-
it's the same amount of maintenance either way.
Right, I
John's
mean-
doing, he's got his calculator going while you were talking, so,
right. Any,
and he and I came up with the same number on the first one, so I trust him on the second.
yeah. Momentarily, we moved the kids. I wouldn't let them play in that field, so we have moved them to another field. And now with the lights, we can let them play a little longer, so that's working for now. I don't have a major complaint from the parents like I had before because they were worried about playing.
Tom, why don't you set up 3 fields on that new field and try it?
We'll talk.
Try it.
So
It's going to be fenced, so I hope you try it. What'd you come up with 5 foot, John?
for the 5 foot, I got 32,656 for reliable.
Okay. And orange fence was, theirs is right on the front. Orange fence was 21,175 plus the 1,300 to do the wood repair work for those two posts and all for that rail fence. So orange fence would be 21,175 plus 1,300 there, right? Yeah. For 22,475 from orange fence. So they're 10,000 apart, roughly, on fair bids. So that's good. Mitch?
Yeah, a couple questions.
Go
So, the first thing is, Tom just mentioned this has gone to Park and Rec, but not the exact plan that you're looking at, just the idea, the concept of putting up the fencing.
Well, we did discuss it pretty good that night there. Tom was there that night, and
Yeah.
I think I don't remember them voting on the height, but, oh, okay, all right. But, okay, I don't. But it was, the layout
Okay.
was discussed.
So, a couple concerns, and I'm in different areas here. The first thing is, let's start with the height. We did say last time that we thought it would be the same height as the playground out here. That's a 6-foot
That's
fence.
6.
And, I was in office when I had 2 parents. They still live in town. Their kids have got to be in their late 20s, early 30s now. Very concerned about a 4-foot fence being able to snatch somebody over.
why we extended
And
that
we
fence.
extended the fence to 6 foot, which was recommended at the time. So I'm not sure whether 5 is appropriate or whether we should make it consistent, make it 6. Not 10, but not 4 either. That's the first thing. The second thing is, you've got it set up from the way I'm trying to follow what you're saying, Jim, and it's just too bad we didn't have all those prices, and John had to go through all that, but it seems obvious that orange fence is going to be the lower bid regardless. The fencing on as you're going down to the lacrosse field, on the left-hand side, the one that you said is ASAP.
That's along the soccer fields, okay.
Along soccer fields, yeah. So that one, obviously, we've got to work on right away. The other side of the road, I didn't realize there was a parking problem over there. I'm a little concerned, well, not concerned, I just want to question, does it make sense to do all that fencing now, or to maybe just throw out telephone poles to stop the parking? Because we don't know what's being built there yet, and when something is built there, we're going to have a fence up there, and maybe there's a better spot for the gate, as opposed to where you're going to put it. I mean, obviously, you can think of where the gate should go with the existing soccer field. I'm wondering whether it makes some sense, I know we want to put the fencing up in the existing area, to hold off on the other side until we actually know, because once the fence is up and the gate's over there and it becomes inconvenient,
We can do that.
I mean, I'm just
No.
just throwing it out there as a thought.
You can hold up on any part of this.
Yeah. And I'd like to hear what Tom has to say about that, too, because I just think that,
Sometimes getting the telephone poles is more of a challenge
well,
than
maybe,
getting fence.
or something.
There, there's a lot of telephone poles there.
Yeah,
I
I'm
know,
just,
but a lot of them are getting kind of,
well, just something as a blockage. You don't want people driving, obviously, over the sprinkler system, for sure, and certainly on the field, for sure as well. But I'm just, to put a fence around a vacant spot right now, where we don't know what it's going to be used for, we don't know what the entrance point's going to be, we don't know whether we want a gate, depending on the layout of the,
Well, there's two big gates.
layout of the playground. Maybe you want a gate connecting that to the playground area. I don't know. I'm just saying, once you put up a fence, it becomes more difficult than to cut it up and take it apart.
that's why we told them the soccer piece was the ASAP piece.
And I agree with that part.
One more comment. Mitch, I'm really glad you brought that up. I tried to drive through and see it. Somebody did drive on it and did a donut, according to Chris Small. He called me. But it's the land was dry enough, didn't do any damage. But yeah,
good.
poles would be great. It would because I had to run all the way over to stop people from parking
Right.
there, and it happened to be lacrosse cars because their parking lot was full. And they were doing a fundraiser. Don't get mad at them. They were doing a good job. It's nice to see 1,000 people. It's heartwarming to me. It's not a problem that we have extra people at Fredwell and we can solve it. It's a beautiful thing.
So, Tom, since you're at the podium, what is your thought of just doing, at this point, the fencing on the one side where the soccer fields are currently? Do you feel
it's a great idea. It's a great plan.
just-
and then
He's going to tell you that he wants.
well, either way.
we need all the
I guess
fence.
the real question is, are you, from your standpoint and soccer standpoint, okay with holding off. So obviously, we've got a commitment here
Yeah.
that we're going to do the fencing.
Well, yes.
But I think we should just hold off that fencing until we know exactly
I
how the
think you
field's
may
going to be laid
want
out.
more input.
That-
Jim
but-
wants more input.
But the thing with the new field side, we'll call it.
Yeah.
They're putting a drive-through gate kind of opposite the one I had them put through on the soccer side where the water line, where they extended it there.
Yeah.
So you'll have two drive-through gates opposite each other. You'll have a drive-through gate down the far end of what will be that new driveway eventually.
Right.
And then on the soccer side, I don't remember if they're putting one or two of those mazes, they call it, which is a break and then a piece of fence out from it, so that you have to go around and out.
I understand.
So you can't just dart out. And then opposite that, I think they're putting two on that new field side. So whether you're going to build a baseball field there or a football field or a soccer space, it's going to be 5 feet in, 5 to 6 feet in from the perimeter. Actually, on Tom's side, if the fence runs straight, the road kind of has a bubble in it over by Lacrosse, so there'll be a bigger piece up by Lacrosse outside the fence. But it's going to be set in probably 5 to 6 feet, I think they said, from the roadway on either side. And that won't impact your development of that space and more, and they already put irrigation in it. So you're going to be some sort of a grass space, I'm going to call it. I don't know what, but if you have a fence on it now,
Yeah.
whether it's kids out there playing kickball or Carla and Mr. Strobel out there with their dogs, there is some protection because it's fenced. And that, I don't care if you put the 5-foot fence up, I have no trouble with that. But I think you should consider doing this because it heads off problems. Why should he be running over, telling people
that's
they
true.
can't park there? You know, if you do this, that will solve some of that concern.
I'm not sure where the funds come from. And
Local capital improvement project funds.
And the concern I have is sometimes if you cut back on your volume of fence, they may not honor the price.
Price might vary.
Yeah, because you're using less fence. But
Purchasing.
I don't know if any of this is sitting on ships over in Los Angeles at this point, so.
Well, they're
whether-
telling me they can.
You
Please,
know,
don't even-
you know from previous.
Don't even say that. They
Yeah.
say they can get this,
That's right.
is what they told me.
As long as they hold up some Christmas gifts, I'm happy.
Yeah, well, that could be too. All right.
Thank you.
Any more questions for Tom?
No, it's just my concern was whether to do that because just not knowing where to put the actual maze or the gate based on just the traffic.
Well, you're going to put
pattern.
them in a balanced
Yeah.
spot.
All
That's
right.
what you're going to do, and no matter what field goes there, if they're balanced at, I don't know, 100 feet or whatever, it's 300 feet the run.
Okay.
So if you have two of those in there, plus you're going to have a large gate, which is openable up the end. So, I mean, there'll be more than 3 accesses into that side.
Okay.
And then I think the soccer side, I forget if it has 1 or 2, plus the equipment gate, plus they're going to repair that other gate, the timber gates, because they had a problem
Yeah.
there with a need to get an ambulance in there one day, and they couldn't figure out quite how to get an ambulance in there for a kid who, I think she broke her leg or something. Was it something like that, Tom?
Fan-
Oh,
yeah.
all right. So,
Okay. The
oh,
referee.
it was a ref?
The ref.
Oh.
Well, young ref.
Okay. So anyhow, so those are my thoughts. I didn't know Park and Rec took an action for 5 or 6. I got prices for 4 and 5. I think that's adequate. They recommended 4-foot. But I personally, we have the funds. These are non-taxpayer dollars. And I think it will keep that problem of parking and stuff. It's only a matter of time before kids start. They're doing donuts in the parking lots there, which you see in the soccer parking lot and the lacrosse parking lot on a regular basis. So it's only a matter of time before they do more damage than that. And,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So with that said, anybody else's thoughts?
Well, I was just going to actually respond to Mitch's concern. I personally think that we should put the fences up. I don't like the idea of trying to get out and get these poles down when we don't know if we can get them, number one. And number two, this is something that I think is necessary to have over there for a variety of reasons that you just alluded to. And, you know, honestly, I'm not opposed to the 4-foot, but I think the 5-foot is probably seems to be in the middle of what Park and Rec was thinking and what everybody else is. So And I do agree that it should be consistent throughout. I don't think you should do 4 or 5. I think,
No,
let's do a 5.
Be uniform.
Right, and
Because
so,
it probably will be 5 around the playground, I'm sure.
Right.
There's going to be some rail fence and chain link fence
Right.
behind it when that happens, but they're not ready yet.
yeah, so my gut feeling is I think we should just go ahead with the project. And in this situation where a fence has to come down, it's really not that major of a task to do so. That's the ideal situation about having fences. It's not a huge endeavor. So if we have to adjust, we adjust. But for safety purposes, for everything that Mr. Pisano's come here and talked about, and other people who have talked about, I think we should do it and get it done, and at least we know we have it.
Is that a motion?
I mean, I didn't want to interject. I'm happy to do a motion unless
Well,
there's
we're
other
going to hear
comments.
other comments.
Yeah.
Yep, Margaret?
I'm just wondering, when will the planning be completed for the rest of the park so that,
The playground committee, you heard Tom already say, is going to Park and Rec with where they are so far. I believe they have to put an order in pretty soon for the playground part of it. So we've held off on anything beyond that until I can actually hear what they need on that other side. No, it's not on the, yeah, it is on this map. This is actually where you come in from like Hollow Road over here, and this is the soccer parking lot is on this side. This stone wall that runs along here, its full run from the entry to that corner back by that brown house is 495 feet. So once I know what the playground, originally they had kind of a rectangle here is what we had drawn in. Well, their new plan has kind of become more round. So I don't know what their full depth is yet. So once I know what that is, then we can figure this other parking in here, and then if the pickleball will fit there, or if that has to run over here. I don't have that answer until the playground is next. And they have kind of a priority, because they do have a timeline, and they have this funding that has to be obligated by March 22, which is a steep grant. And so they're moving along as quick as they can. So that's the next one. So I can't answer it until they kind of finalize their piece, but I have 490 feet roughly there to work with on that side.
okay. I'm also in favor of a 5-foot fence. I think we have the resources to do it, and we should do it.
We do.
Yep.
Ralph, any thoughts?
I agree with the 5-foot fence.
Okay.
I think we ought to start as soon as we can.
All right.
Well, we'll give them the okay, but we don't dig the holes. So,
Well, having said that, then I think there seems to be a consensus. I would say a motion would be inclined to go with orange fence, using the 5-foot quote that they provided. That's what I would recommend in a.
and the repair of the railing.
And the
timber
repair of the
gates.
correct.
Okay. All right, motion's made and seconded. Thank you, everybody, for that. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Okay. See, Tom, I move slow, but we got there. Okay, to consider and act on the request from the Lions Club to waive the customary rental and custodial fees for the annual Thanksgiving dinner scheduled for Sunday, November 28th at High Plains Community Center. Ann Carollo for the Orange Lions, but I'm not sure. Mr. Muddett, would you like to come up and pitch your dinner? Are we having it in person this year?
Yes.
Wonderful.
That's the point of this.
Excellent.
We spoke to the health department and Park and Rec, and the Lions are ready to reinstitute our annual Thanksgiving dinner the Sunday after Thanksgiving for our seniors. There will be masks, all the COVID rules will be followed, and there may be a fewer people than we normally get. We will be able to deliver homebound also, as we have in the past. And I believe this is about our 25th annual dinner. And we're just looking forward to getting back to normal in Orange.
Exactly, exactly. And we thank the
Thank you.
Lions for doing that, because this is always a very looked forward to event by so many. They come out in droves for it. They fight over the candy, they fight over who gets what kind of pie, and they love the dinner. So it's really a great event, so thank you for that.
Thank you for your
I truly
consideration.
appreciate it. So for you at home, the Orange Lions Club will be sponsoring their yearly Thanksgiving dinner. Will be on Sunday, November 28th at High Plains Community Center. They also offer takeout or delivered dinners for those that are unable to attend. Let's see. I guess, who do they contact? Mike, through community service?
Contact and make reservations.
Yeah, okay, I don't want to give Ann's cell number out. You would contact Community Services at High Plains Community Center and to make your reservations for this, or to order dinners to be delivered if you are homebound. And again, it is on Sunday, November 28th, and we look forward to seeing all of you there. Is there any problem with their
Second.
request? A motion and second made. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Okay. Item number 6 is to consider and act on the Board of Selectmen's annual town report and created. Were there any errors, omissions? Yes, Mitchell.
I think we just omitted the in memoriam there. You did wish to remember those who passed away due to coronavirus, but I'm sure there's townsfolk that passed away that should be mentioned in the annual report, as we always do, that served on boards or commissions.
Or is it commission people?
Yeah.
If we can track them down, we shall.
We always do.
Yep.
I think just going back through the minutes of the last year, and you'll find those
Most of
people.
them, yeah. And if we miss them,
Same.
please let us
I
know.
think you'll get, so with that change, if you will, I'll make a motion to approve the annual report for the Board of Selectmen.
Second.
Okay, motion is made and seconded. Any more discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Okay, she has provided the schedule for the regularly scheduled Board of Selectmen meetings for 2022. Are there any conflicts there that,
Question for you, Jim.
yeah,
The Fair Week, you've asked us to change that, is that,
it's coming.
okay, I'm just going to ask.
I'd like to ask for the September meeting to be moved back 1 week, so that it would be, I presume, probably the 7th as opposed to the 14th.
Got it.
So that, yeah, I'm kind of busy that week cooking and all. This year it was so nice to be back. I cooked my fanny off, I'll tell you, but it was so nice to be back in the kitchen there, and the people came out in droves, and
They did.
I spent almost all day Saturday in the kitchen cooking. I finally got out on Sunday at like 10:30 in the morning. I was done cooking. I had cooked, let's see, my mother's funeral was on Tuesday. I started Tuesday night and cooked every night in there, and then all night, Friday night into Saturday morning, most of the day Saturday, and then Sunday morning. And it really was exhilarating, I will say. It was nice to be back and see all the people. So with that change, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Okay, to consider and act on request to approve the tax refunds totaling $11,614.13, according to Mrs. Denny. Any problems with those?
Nope. So moved.
Motion made, is there a second on that? Second made. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Pension Board.
Pension Board met in a special meeting recently to discuss the issues that are coming before us in executive session, so I can
Yep.
report on that in executive session.
Okay. Emergency Management, Selectman Novicki.
The last meeting of the Emergency Management Advisory Council was held on September 24th. under the guidance of the Board of Health and the Emergency Management Council, a budget is going to be presented to the Board of Finance for funding that the town has received from the federal government's American Rescue Plan for looking at covering the Department of Health's operational needs, personnel, and future clinics. We, of course, expect and hope that we'll be able to have upcoming COVID booster shot clinics once the Moderna and Johnson & Johnson booster vaccines are approved by the FDA. So that is part of the plan that we'll be presenting a budget for. In terms of the COVID picture in Orange, the good news is we're on a downward trend now after having peaked with the Delta variant in August and September. We're on a downward trend, and overall, I think, the town is managing that well because we have a 75% vaccination rate, and that's really key to our success. So I just want to appeal again to all of our citizens out there that if you haven't gotten a vaccination, please do. It's not too late. It's never too late, and it helps everybody in our town. So thank you.
No, they are still readily available at multiple locations.
Yes.
So that's it. And I saw in the news that they're coming out with possible approval for the 5 to 11-year-olds, which for those who choose to get it is a good thing. It's very helpful for the school systems and all on top of that. And I did see on the news today that they're opening the borders to people to come in. So with those things said, you know that it's starting to see light at the end of the tunnel. Capital planning, Selectman Okenquist, not yet or yet?
We have not met yet. We've asked for the inputs in by, I believe, by November 9th. And we expect to have a couple meetings either at the end of November or beginning of December before Christmas, and then finish up our effort in January.
Okay. Personnel Committee met, and we didn't make it to the agenda. That's all right. It's, we can add it. Personnel Committee met to consider the changing of one person's employee at the transfer station listed as a part-time employee to a full-time employee, which will probably trigger that employee into the union there, but the highway union, but it's necessary. They've been using far more hours than what was allotted as a part-time employee by a large amount when we met with Mr. Jaser from the transfer station, and that we will still need to find another part-time employee for down there, and it seems that there's a veteran that may fit the need for that position also. So we're in good shape there. But I'll discuss that when we add that to executive session. We'll go into about creating that position just so I can explain it a little bit better. So is there a motion for that, please?
So moved.
Okay, motion made. Is there a second? Second made. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, it's added as item number 4 of executive session. And then we will come out and take a vote on it if that is the case. Thank you. Okay, with that said, that is everything that is in public session. The next will be in executive session, so that, Tom, I have to ask you to leave, and I didn't know if you were one of the people we were talking about there or not. Masks keep people limited, we can't tell.
Thanks, guys. It's a good thing.
Oh, there you are. Yeah, motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
All right. It's, all in favor, it's 8:04, 2, something like that. Okay, good evening. We are back in from executive session. It looks like it's 8:50, 8:55. I think the glare falls where I sit right on it. Thank you for that. In executive session, we discussed 2 applications for disability from 2 police officers. the settling of an agreement with the dispatchers at the Orange Police Department under the Communication Workers of America, AFL-CIO. And we've also agreed upon the contract between the town of Orange and the school nurses that take care of our little ones in the elementary schools. Local 1303-316 of Council 4, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, our school nurses. So we'll start with, and we also discuss moving a position from a part-time position to a full-time position at the transfer station due to staffing and coverage issues there. So item 1 is to consider an act on the applications of disability for 2 police officers. Is there any motions to be made on those? Selectman Carangelo.
Yes, so I'm going to break it down. We're going to have 2 motions. The first motion is for approval of application for disability pension for Officer Christopher Brown.
Microphone.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay, thank you.
To repeat, I'm going to make a motion for an application for disability pension benefits for Officer Christopher Brown as discussed in executive session.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. There is no more discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
And then the second motion for application for disability pension benefits is for Lieutenant Jeremy Dexter, again, as discussed in executive session. So I'd like to approve that as well.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for those.
All right.
Item number 2 is to consider an act on the agreement between the Town of Orange and Communication Workers of America. Is there a motion to be made on that? Selectman Goldblatt.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to have the Board of Selectmen accept the tentative agreement between the Town of Orange and the Communication Workers of America, AFL-CIO dispatchers, and authorize the first selectman to execute the contract consistent with the terms of this tentative agreement.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Second.
Oh, second? Yeah, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, unanimous. Thank you. Item number 3 is to consider an act on the agreement between the Town of Orange and Local 1303-316 of Council 4, AFSCME, the school nurses that take care of our children in the elementary schools. Selectman Goldblatt.
Yeah, similar motion, that would be to have the Board of Selectmen accept the tentative agreement between the Town of Orange and Local 1303-316 of Council Number 4, AFSCME, AFL-CIO, the school nurses, and to authorize the first selectman to execute the contract consistent with the terms of this tentative agreement.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, unanimous. Item 4 is to move the part-time transfer station assistant transfer station operator to a full-time position due to staffing issues and shortage. There are job requirements with this position, which this man holds regarding licensing, driving capabilities, machinery operation, and has been discussed, and the final approval will be between the first selectman and the union at this time.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, thank you. Okay, with that said, I think we've been brought up to date on everything for tonight. I remind those of you at home that tomorrow night, the 14th, is the debate for first selectman candidates at High Plains Community Center at 7 p.m., presented by the Milford Orange Times. Thank you, and we are adjourned at 9 o'clock. Have a good evening.